So one year, I got a Fulbright, and I moved to Chernobyl. Now, most people think Chernobyl is this radioactive wasteland, but that's not true. People still live there. People grow up. They fall in love. They get married. Like small towns anywhere. They get a job. They raise their kids. They get old. They get drunk. They tell stories. They tell jokes. They sing songs. Actually, I heard a lot of jokes in Chernobyl, and I want to share one with you. It's market day. A man goes to the bazaar, and this woman is selling apples. She says, "Chernobyl apples, get your Chernobyl apples here." And he says, "Okay, these apples look okay, but why tell people they're from Chernobyl? Nobody will buy them." And she says, "What? Of course they will. They'll buy them for their boss. They'll buy them for their mother-in-law." You see, the power of a joke is it surprises us. It makes us think outside the box. It makes us realize that the expectation we had is not true. And that punchline is a little eureka moment, a little aha that makes us realize, wait, there's more to this than I thought. So I'm going to talk about thinking outside the box. But first, you have to understand, how did we get stuck in these boxes to begin with? I'll talk about 3 ways. We get stuck in our assumptions about the world. We get stuck in our own identity, and we get stuck in our daily habits. Environmentalist Rachel Carson said that we get most of our information about the world through what we see, but we go with such unseeing eyes that we're partially blind. And so let me just say, you look pretty smart. And you with that teal shirt, I like the way you dress. You must be rich. And you with the gray hair, I bet you don't understand Twitter. And you have a PhD, so you're not artistic, and you are short, so you can't play basketball, but you're black, so you can. Do you see? These assumptions are based on nothing. What happens is we need a framework to understand the world. So we put things in categories. We label them. But pretty soon we only see the labels. We don't see what's actually there. We build a scaffolding, and that scaffolding becomes a prison. We get stuck in our assumptions. We also get stuck in our identity. Let me tell you guys something about myself. I'm from Michigan. But what that really means is I was born there, right? But I haven't lived in Michigan for 23 years. So what exactly about Michigan is still an important part of my identity? And wait, my parents aren't from Michigan. They're from the East Coast, New York and Philadelphia. But their parents are from Eastern Europe. My grandmother used to say we're from Russia, Poland. Sometimes it was Russia, sometimes it was Poland. But wait, we're Jewish, so we're not actually from Europe at all. We're from Israel, which used to be Palestine, which used to be Canaan. Do you understand? The walls of the box are constantly shifting. We think they're solid, but they're not. But we still get stuck in them. So, forget Michigan. People, you meet someone, they say, where are you from? What do you do? Well, I'm a photographer. So that means I take pictures maybe 10 hours a week. So who am I the other 158 hours? Well, for one, I'm a dad. We define ourselves in relationships to other people. But do you guys see how that can be a trap? How we can get stuck in that little box? So I have a secret to tell you guys. Most people don't know this. I'm a dad, but also nobody knows that I'm a lesbian. What, you don't believe me? Try this. Go to a thrift store, buy a shirt, put it on for a day, become that person for a day. If we use our imagination, we can make anything possible. And actually, I got this shirt for a friend of mine who was a lesbian, but she stopped being a lesbian. She became a man. So, ultimately, who are we? We're whatever we want to be. Identity can be fluid. It doesn't need to be a box. So we get stuck in our assumptions, in our identity. We also get stuck in our daily habits. Most of you, I bet, after lunch, you'll come back and you'll sit in the exact same seat you're sitting in right now. Why do we prefer the routine to a new perspective? We become like automatons. You know, the thing about routines is that they require no conscious thought. We just do what we do. But then there's no creativity in that. We might as well be robots. So we're living in this dark box. We can't see anything. It's black. You need a crack, a hole, something to let the light in. So this is a pinhole camera. I'm going to take a picture of you guys. It'll take about 9 minutes. Don't move. Say cheese. Try this. Make an L with your fingers and a backwards L with your other finger. Put them together, finger to thumb, and you've made a little frame with which to see the world. You look through that, and this is what photographers do. We take a little piece of the world and we ignore everything else. And we're saying this in the frame is important, everything else is not important. Let me tell you why I went to Chernobyl. I spent 2 years there, and my commitment to this project began when I realized how most photojournalists distort Chernobyl. They go in, there's the box. They go in expecting danger and despair. And so this is what they photograph. They photograph abandoned buildings. They photograph children with birth defects. This is a piece of the story, but it's not the whole story. And it's also sensationalist. I wanted to go in, I wanted to see these communities outside the box. I wanted to see them in their entirety. So, yes, I saw suffering, but I also saw joy and beauty. I saw endurance and hope. Let me tell you about my friend, Slava Danilov. Stop. Do you see what I just did? Before I've even told you anything about him, I put him in a box, a label. I said, my friend. So, Dr. Vyacheslav Danilov is a psychiatrist at the Chernobyl plant. But also, Slava has 8 children from 4 different wives. I photographed his son, Ilya. And Ilya said, this is what people think we look like. They think we're mutants, but we're not. Like the t-shirts I showed you, a photograph tells a piece of the story, but not the whole story. This is radioactive waste at Chernobyl, but also this is Sergei Volkov, and this is where Sergei fell in love. He met his wife here. The danger of a single story, a single photograph, a single identity, is that we don't even recognize that it's a box. We get trapped in it. But Chernobyl is not one story told over and over 1,000 times. It's 1,000 different stories told all at once. So we get stuck in the. Sorry, Davey, I can't talk. I'm in the middle of my TED Talk. No, I don't know why I answered. I guess just a habit. Okay, I'll call you back. Yeah, your box is here. No, I didn't open it. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't know why I answered that. We get stuck in this framework. So let me talk. I talked about that. Let me talk about how we get outside the framework. It requires creativity. I have some questions for you guys. Raise your hands high. Who here knows how to speak English? Great. Who here can sing? Who here knows how to walk? Okay. Who can dance? So what you guys are telling me is that about half of you can walk, but you can't dance. You can talk, but you can't sing. You know what? I don't believe you. Why do we think creativity is difficult? What are we scared of? Listen, my son is 8 years old. I went recently to his class and asked them who can sing. I wanted to teach them a song. I asked them, and they started jumping out of their chairs. When I asked you guys, I get a few shy, half hands, oh, I hope he doesn't call on me. Please do not call on me. The kids are not scared because they heard my question. I said, can you sing? What you guys heard is, can you sing well? I didn't ask that, but that's what you heard. So we want so badly to be creative. But how do we do it? Here are a few things I learned about creativity. 1, creativity is not efficient. I gave some people this diagram. I said, connect the dots, A to B. The efficient way to connect dots is to draw a straight line, the shortest distance between 2 points. But that's not the creative way. There are many other creative ways to get from A to B. And logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will get you anywhere. 2, creativity is dangerous. Listen, we have to take risks. We have to be willing to think outside the box, to put aside those habits, those assumptions, even those identities. And if we do that, it can be revolutionary, and I think that's what we want, right? But we have to be willing to face the danger, to see things new. 3, creativity is experimental. That's the good news. It's all about trial and error. It's a process. So don't worry about those mistakes because they're a natural part of the process. We need to run into some dead ends and turn around and backtrack. That's the only way we can get where we're going, wherever it is that we're going. 4, creative people are out of their minds. And by this, I mean that creativity is not just about thinking. It requires mind, body, heart, and soul. 4 different ways of processing the world. And we need to use all different 4 forms. Connect the dots. Lastly, creativity requires action. To create means to make something new. Make something new. We have to actually make something. We can't just sit around and have good thoughts. We have to actually implement them. Or otherwise, we're just sitting around drawing. There are so many ways to get from A to B if you start really thinking outside the box. So, in conclusion, I want to say, what is a box? A box can be the past. It can be all our old identities, all our old baggage that we have all boxed up, right? This should be almost done. Yeah, I think it's done. A box can also be the present, limiting what we see. We see what we expect to see instead of what's really there. And finally, a box can be the future. Writer Julia Cameron said that mystery is at the heart of creativity. We need to be able and willing to embrace the unexpected. So, my brother gave me this box, and I promised him I would not open it until this moment. I don't know what's inside, but let's find out. Oh, that's great. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you.